Interior. His whole cabinet, you are electing,
Flower Burn, Operation
right?
Mockingbird.
And
I kind of want to
so
listen to
you
what she's
see
got
how
to
they do
say.
appointments,
This gentleman.
right? Director FBI,
I'm
director of the
gonna
CIA, director of military
do it.
intelligence,
Playing Baldur's Gate.
suggesting people for the Supreme Court. All
Back
that's
to
part of the presidential cabinet that you voted for. So the U.S. Marshal falls under that as like the U.S. Marshal Office is the national sheriff.
When did the National Guard come? Let me ask you, when did they first create the National Guard? Was it after World War II?
No, the National Guard has always been here, but it wasn't called always the National Guard.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? So the National Guard springs from the Mississippi River military, which was a Navy faction.
Oh.
You ever heard the term frogmen?
My dad mentioned something about that.
The frogmen was the tribes. Those were your Navy SEALs before it was Navy SEALs.
Okay.
Right? But it was adopted from Mississippi culture. The Navy,
from the swamplands, yeah.
Yeah. So the Navy is to repurpose the Mississippi branch of the military because they used to patrol the Mississippi River on something called a riverboat. Right? Yeah. And then they had bigger ones because they was also responsible to patrol the Gulf of America, formerly known as the Gulf of Mexico.
Yes.
Right? So once this is established, the government starts to repurpose everything that was ours. Or else, if it don't look like something that belongs to us, we won't participate in it. We won't support it to a success.
We won't identify with it, yeah.
Right, but if they take it from your culture, your genetic memory will say, oh yeah, well, this is still my stuff.
That's right, cellular memory matters most, yeah.
So then we end up being deceived by the system into believing that they're legitimate. Right? The Army was the ground troops. That's where you get your Tuscaloosa, right? Chief Tuscaloosa, he was the ground warrior. Chief Sitting Bull was a ground warrior. That's where they put the Army in order based on the movement of the tribes that was fighting on the land against the invaders. They mirrored our military structure in order to overthrow our military structure. The appearance of legitimacy was what they used to deceive us. Because they wear those uniforms you see the military in. Our military didn't dress like that. Oh, Mississippi, from the Wolf Clan, you probably had a wolf coat on. Right? If you was from the Coyote Clan, you probably had a coyote coat. If you was a Buffalo soldier, you probably had a bison coat as part of your uniform.
That's right.
Right? So all of these things, like when you see the Michigan Spartans, the Spartans is the Mohawks. But they just make it look like that the helmet that he's wearing is the cause of the Mohawk haircut. But it's the same thing. They're using the mirror effect to usurp you by using your genetic memory against you as opposed to activating it so you can use it to liberate yourself.
I mean, yeah.
This is what gets me into social media, teaching this information, because I have so many past life memories of being over here when everything was ran by the tribal mothers. So I be basically having tantrums, kicking and screaming about Big Mama needing her stuff back, and my sisters need their stuff back because this is the tribal mother network. All of the mayor is town mother. A mayor name was derived from a female.
Yeah.
So then you had the elephant was the symbol of the big matriarch. People don't know the elephant was originally from over here.
Yeah.
So
I think all elephants are from Africa, but from some historical reference, archaeologists have seen like elephant tusks bones of elephants located here. Like, again, most people think everything, the cradle of life was in Africa, but what if this was the perceived Africa? This was the original cradle of civilization, and everything centered and was evolved from this civilization.
So over here, we have the jaguar. In Africa, they had a leopard. Now, the only reason why they're genetically different is for prolonged isolation from interbreeding. It's the same damn cat. It's the same damn cat.
Before you go into that, I want to ask you something about that. The cats are migrating south right now. All cats, bobcats, mountain lions, domestic cats. I don't want to interrupt you, but I wanted to see your take on that. The cats are very powerful, but they're migrating all south right now from the United States. What's your take on that?
They're going to
like in Florida, they are going down to Miami.
Yeah.
That means that whatever is coming, if they sense it, they know that Miami is the safe zone.
That's right.
Florida is the finish line. Miami is another way of saying Miami.
Ooh.
So my mammy sent me across the finish line. My mammy is my mama.
So geomagnetically, they're being drawn to that location. Yeah. Because we're going through a pole shift, but just call me a little bit of a conspiracy theorist, right?
So out in the west, the Cougars are also migrating to Reno, Nevada.
Interesting. I didn't know that one. Interesting.
And then they just discovered a whole lion pride that they claim it came from across the Bering Strait or some bullshit. But they was up there the whole time because the lions is from over here too. We all believe lions is from Africa. Lions is from America. They was just murdered or they was just wiped out over here. Slaughtered. All of the major mammals over here was being replaced by the colonizers to make the land for the quarantine.
Yeah, they were geoengineering or structuring the environment to suit them and whatever agendas they had in mind. Yeah. That's why you don't see like
when they change the animals and you come back in a different lifetime, you looking to see the bison, you looking to see the elk, you looking to see the grizzly bear, you looking to see certain animals from your last lifetime to know that you're on the land that you've always been on. If you from Africa, you come out, when you're looking at the animals, you're looking to see zebra, rhino, giraffe.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why they take us to the zoo to see all the African animals while they indoctrinate us with this out of Africa philosophy, this subtle program, which goes back to Operation Mockingbird.
Let's get into it. Rod is kicking it off, y'all. He's already going in, leading in, nice and softly to the bases. So let's go into Project Mockingbird, which basically is conditioning people or the environment to perceive or control social media in order to control the narratives or how we proceed in our own lives. What's your take on the Operation Mockingbird? I mean, it started a while ago, but what's your take on the original stance, how it began? There's different tiers under it. Like there was a church brand of it, a family, I think it was called the Family Matters or something, part of it. What's your take on the initiation of Operation Mockingbird?
It was started as a CIA program to use the television and news industry as a propaganda outlet to steer public opinion in order for the people to be pretty much corralled into their agenda. Right? So you got Operation Mockingbird, but you got MK Ultra as the system.
That's right.
It's the mechanics to mind control and mass control, right? Now, when you go to MK Ultra for mind control, you see that the major work was by a French author named Gustave Le Bon in the book called The Crowd. It's a social study of the movement of groups of people. And it's in that book that they learn how to use something called the antagonist in order to steer the crowd in the direction that you want them to go, because that's the only voice that the crowd can adhere to once they get into the frenzy. Right? So, you ever heard the term folie à deux?
No.
Well, it's when two people are supposed to get wrapped up in a common insanity and when they work together as a unit. Right? It's called folie à deux. It comes from French psychology. And the original case, like Bonnie and Clyde would be, they defense lawyers would use reason of insanity, and they would argue that it was folie à deux, which is a delusional, overwhelming sensation by the two being in each other's presence and neither one of them individually controlled. But it took over both of them. They became hands of the entity.
Like mass hysteria, similar?
Yeah.
Like the type of it, just a more
now, once you understand the mechanics of it, you can control it now. Now, you can cause the mass hysteria, but you can make the people believe the mass hysteria is exactly about what it's not, what you said it was about as a pathological life. You have them believing they protesting for one thing, but all the time they protesting something else.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. Like all them people with the Black Lives Matter thought they was protesting the death of George Floyd when it actually wasn't a protest at all. But it was a LGBTQ elemental PSB recruiting program.
And it was usurped because the originators who created it for the right reasons, they were all allegedly lynched. And when they found out who the founders and who were getting the checks were, who were leading the movement afterwards, it was two, I think, lesbian ladies, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
And it had nothing to do with what the original thought or plan, how it was created. It had nothing to do with it later on. And it was literally a Ponzi scheme to also give money to the Democratic Party. Because remember, that's how they led that.
Also, you got to remember, the structure and the original people before they was activated was all paid by George Floyd. He's also paying at the same time Antifa.
Oh yeah, Antifa was like the agitators of the whole situation. Yeah.
Yeah. So they take the situation. Now, if we didn't know no better, we would think that the only time that somebody gets shot by the police is when they protesting. Police always shoot people.
Absolutely.
They shoot more pale people than they do melanated people.
They do.
But
yeah.
They sensationalize the melanated people to get our community in an emotional uproar.
Yes, that's an
occupying foreign force, masquerading as the tribes on the land, supposed to be the braves keeping peace.
Absolutely. Constantly poking and agitating, activating, gaslighting a community so that they kind of front the movement, which is never about them anyway. It's interesting. Yeah. And even when we heard about the Project Mockingbird, they had different versions of it. I think there was one called the Church something. I don't know if it was the Church Project, the Church Commission, the Church something rather. It was like it was under the tier of Project Operation Mockingbird, and it kind of was into like torture, coercion, trying to use people as beta tests. Beta test people to find out what works best with social engineering. And I think later on, I don't know I think it was from the 50s to the 70s, they found out about it and they realized it was regular citizens that were being used for these projects, people who did not know.
Well, yeah, and they was also turned on their own scientists. they began to do experiments on the scientists that was doing experiments on regular people.
Dastardly.
We got a famous story about one who dived out of the window in New York. He didn't dive out, he had some help. But they say he committed suicide by jumping out the window in New York. And all the time, he was one of the most knowledgeable of the mind control operatives.
Wow.
And they believe that his roommate was a Manchurian candidate, and that the phone went on right before he jumped out the window,
Activating his like a part of his unconscious.
And they say his roommate said he picked the phone up and said hello and had a brief conversation. He turned around, hung the phone up, and his friend took off running across the room for his roommate. Ran across the room and dived out the window. Then family don't find out 20 years later that the government experimented on him, and he was the one supposed to be doing the experiment. After they had settled the case, wrongful death and all that stuff,
well, a lot of these
coming to find out all of the details don't come out till later.
Well, files are sealed for 20, 30 years, sometimes 2 decades. They're sealed purposefully because if the people who are living at the time who would have been in an uproar would have changed some of the people they voted for so that these operations, these type of experiments wouldn't have been conducive wouldn't have been accepted at the time. So they purposefully kind of bed these experiments so that by the time anybody finds out, there's nobody living left, or people are too old to even care or to do anything about it.
So under the propaganda wing is what they're using for. They did the experiment, eat Coke, drink popcorn at the movie theater.
I remember that.
That was the MK Ultra experiment.
Absolutely. Yeah,
and that's when they knew how to use subliminal programming. And hey, go somewhere. You're shaking my camera. But that's the experiment that they use to understand how subliminal programming works. Right, on masses of people. Remember that movie They Live? And they showed when you put the glasses on, you can see the subliminal message behind
obey, procreate,
So this is all part of the MK Ultra Operation Mockingbird program. Mockingbird make all of the newscasters around the country, they ended up saying the same thing. Like, wait a minute.
Verbatim.
Word for word, because they're reading the script.
Yep.
Yeah, remember, the news has a funnel system. And in the funnel system, you have 2 news agencies. You have the Reuters and you have the Associated Press. Right? All news that's considered credible, where any news outlet will report, has to come through those outlets.
It does. It's all controlled.
Right. Now, when they write it in there, they write it how they want you to say the story. This is why it looks like all of them saying the same thing. They're reading the Reuters or the Associated Press article about the news as it's going on.
Yeah, there's no independent journalism anymore. I don't even know that we ever truly had, but certainly now, even on social media now. Yeah. And that also
they got their own opinions. You gotta go on social media. You're not gonna find somebody on NBC, CBS, ABC, or on 102.7 or 103.5 or 92.2. You're not gonna find nobody with their own show speaking their mind. The last people that did that, they was calling them shock jocks, so they can get rid of people that speak their mind. Because right. Not just sexualize them. The whole term shock jock was reverse psychology.
Make them seem extreme, right?
Yep. They saying this shocking and revolting stuff. And the king got a shock jock is how it's done.
Oh yeah. And he's controlled opposition in my mind.
All of the material is written by Ryan. She's the brains in the operation. He's just the mouthpiece.
the one that they consider to be like the dumb. You know, they make
Yeah, she's always giggling on the air. That's her brother.
Oh, Howard. You know, she's always
she's the brains behind the operation.
Oh, she's
always have been.
Interesting.
But we always thought it was Howard's turn.
We did. Interesting.
She's the power player. Man, every great man, goddammit. We'll find one of these sisters doing her thing.
That's masterful, though, that she was basically the mega mind behind him.
Yeah.
Now, even when we go into, let's talk about going into the modern day. I don't even know if I can say it's modern day. And I like to refer to a movie. It's called Pontypool. It kind of speaks to, I don't know, did you ever see Pontypool? Pontypool is like a, kind of how they live. It was a Canadian version, where people would hear, they were infected by words, a series of words spoken at a certain frequency that would infect them. And then they would become zombified and become hostile and aggressive. And then we go into formulated symbolism, word medleys that in a certain succession or in a certain tone can literally activate or motivate people to act in certain ways. What do you say about that?
That's absolutely correct. That's the principles of a Manchurian mechanic. Right. When they call them a zombie, that means they under somebody else's mind control, surfing in the rainbow movie.
That's right. We're just discussing that, yeah.
So once you're under somebody else's control like that, and you don't have any say in your life, they classify you as a zombie. Zombie comes from an old Creole word, zumbe.
That goes.
Right?
Yes.
And the zumbe it don't mean that you do it.
Just kind of like not conscious, like loopy, like not really aware.
Yeah. So this is where your Holy Ghost comes from. Holy Ghost that we catch in the black churches is not the same thing that happens in the Catholic Church. It's not the same thing that happens in the Church of Canterbury. It's not the same thing that happens in the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. It only happens in the churches over here. That means it's a part of our culture that's in the church.
It's part of the programming system.
But when you study the Balduur, they was already having a Holy Ghost session. So this is what's taking place. When you catch the Holy Ghost, the frequency turns up your mitochondrial output when you get the right frequency.
Yeah.
If you are not conscious enough to understand what's happening, you kind of like short circuit and you have no control.
Come like that. Interesting.
Right. They call it, in the Buddhist culture, they call it being a mountain.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Which is you prepare for that too. Usually people are trained and prepared for that.
And most of the church don't see what, when you have the people in the church that ain't really got the Holy Ghost, they practice.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
They practice it because as soon as you hit their ass, it's gonna fling them across the room, bounce them off it. All it is an overwhelming influx of energy at the cellular level. I did one of my first broadcasts on Facebook. It's called exactly what is the Holy Ghost. And I talked about how the mitochondrial frequencies is what causes it.
Yes.
Right? And then they got these experiments that they were doing on the Sufi. Because all of those Sufi whirling dervishes and all of them in the Sufi ceremonies is the priestesses of the daughters of Isis, the Delphi priestesses, right? The sisters of Eve. All of these is the priesthoods of the women when it was under matriarchy. That's been downplayed, villainized, demonized, and turned into evil things.
Yeah, and marginalized.
Under the patriarchal domination.
Absolutely.
Right? Like the dark mother to us, it just means Big Mama got a smart ass mother. The dark mother to them mean that old black lady gonna whoop my ass. right? So we don't perceive it the same. But when the older society tell you that you should perceive it like them, it splits your consciousness. And Souls of Black Folks, W.E.B. Du Bois got a chapter in there called The Warring Soul. And he talk about the internal conflict about the you who wants to fit into the society versus the you that want to overthrow the society and rent this some bitch asunder.
Interesting. Is it kind of like a civilizer, like Sybil, like someone who has multiple versions of themselves that are initiated during certain kinds of events, right? And they'll say it's schizophrenia, or they'll say it's multiple personality, but it sounds similar to what you're saying.
Yeah. So even the reason why they called it. So remember they made the movie in the 70s.
I loved it. Yeah.
White girl with the multiple. Well, here's the problem: is what people don't understand. The Sibyls was a group of priestesses that was telepathically linked, and this is why they were so hard to tackle, because they always was a step ahead. Because any woman that's vibrating on that mother frequency, they can see through her eyes when the soldiers is coming. So they was able to either escape or mount a viable defense. This is my daughters of Mami Wata is what they was called, right? Which is actually the daughters of Oye and Yemika.
Yes.
Right? But the ones that we used to call the honeypot, those are the daughters of Oshun.
Yes.
Right? So we don't remember our culture, but we see enough of it for our genetic memory to say, okay, I'll go along with this bullshit.
Because there's some familiarity to it that is cellular based. Yeah, absolutely.
Like, let's take Thanksgiving, for instance. We was doing Thanksgiving long before a settler ever seen in America.
That's true.
But now they monetize it.
It's true.
Right?
It's true.
They turned it into a Christian holiday.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we still, all it was the turkey harvest.
And it's a certain time of year in the Americas where people hunted before the winter was coming for turkeys. You're right. Yeah.
And so the turkey harvest was always, Big Mama would always bring the newest family, young man who started his family, is he getting his recognition. This is why the turkey is the symbol of the chief. With the full feather.
Yes, you're right.
Okay, now the Big Mama in the Longhouse, Hadassah, we're talking Iroquois Confederacy, we're talking Cherokee Confederacy, because all of these was the East Coast tribes that practiced the turkey hunt celebration. This is how the colonizers even got invited, because we was already about to have dinner. And
they just happened to be there on the block. Yeah.
They ain't gonna just leave the people down there starving. We feed everybody that's hungry. And they took that candy for weakness.
Yeah, they did.
Right? And then when we brought them to our celebration, they slaughtered us on Black Friday.
Woo! Boy, the same thing that they initiated.
Delaware Indian. It's the story of the Delaware Indian, but not the Indian. Don't look it up. It ain't no secret. Everything I'm saying, everybody already know it, but they not conscious to the fact that they've already been told the history. Because they've been told, this is the story, but look over there. As a misdirection. That's all tied into the controlling of the masses using the MKR program. They use the Operation Mockingbird. Mockingbird is the media propaganda arm of society.
But I always used to tell people, like, television, they tell you what it is. All forms of social media, whether we enjoy it, whether there's a side effect of pleasure or entertainment, it is all for social engineering and social control. That was why it was created. That's why it's so massively controlled and monetized, in order to have everyone go in the same, whatever agenda they're running, for us all to be in alignment with that. If we did not watch all the television and listen to all the radio shows, we wouldn't be as influenced. If you go to remote places that have no form of communication outside, their life is very uniquely structured outside of any of the social ideology that we're imprinted with.
Yeah, that's why when you read history books, they don't tell you the same story that American history books tell you.
Oh, absolutely not.
And I used to be out because I'm here I got the Georgetown University History of the World, and I got the Oxford History of the World. And I'm going to compare them. This is not even the same word.
It's not.
Oxford and Georgetown, they don't even tell the story of the same word because they tell it so drastically different. Right? But you got to remember, history is written by the victors. So they're going to tell you the people that they conquer. Right? The version of history just going to make them look like a hero.
Absolutely.
So that the ones who was conquered won't resist the conquest of the conqueror and surrender all of your birthright to the one who conquered you.
Absolutely.
But then every now and then somebody come along and say, that bullshit don't work on me.
Well, because they forget that a lot of the other tribes, like us who are from South America and from the Caribbean, a lot of our history wasn't as hidden, but we knew about those in North America that were our kin, and we knew what was going on over there. So we held some of the archives orally, and then we were able to share that with our northern cousins, saying, no, y'all weren't ever slaves. You didn't come from Africa. You were from here. We were just reconfigured. South to north, north to south, but just moved along during the Trail of Tears because we didn't sell out with the $5 Indians and the government's telling us, listen, you do this and this and you can stay here or you just not going to be on this land. Because I feel like the land that they have and they gave to the $5 Indians was a holding place that they would eventually take over. And actually they're controlling now.
The whole reservation program was to put embassies across the land that was controlled by out of D.C. Yeah. All of those reservations are embassies. That's why they are all enclosed.
Dude, that is amazing that you said that. Because it's like that. If you look at all of the chiefs that are on, those who are chiefesses and chiefs on the land, because as a little girl we were allowed to interface with some of our land tribal people, all of them were European based. And now, now with the beauty of social media, it is now uncovering that the amount of chiefs and people on those reservations absolutely have no genetic connection to the land. It's coming out now, as if we didn't know that blue eyes and blonde hair was not a national genetic quality of people living in certain regions.
Not just them, though. You got to remember, when they came over here, they brought their servants, but their servants was Mongolians and
Yes. Yes.
Helvetic.
Yep.
Right? So, if this was the first people they brought over here with them, this was the ones that was going to school to learn how to be an Indian in an Indian boarding school.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then was when they all graduated, when they had enough graduates, when they initiated the Trail of Tears. Because when they was going through the South, they was telling the people in the South that looked like us, the Indian train coming. The Indian train coming. And when we say we ain't getting on that train, on paper, they write that this Mongolian owned this plot of land that these people live on paper. He don't own it.
Yeah.
But they giving the plot of land that's owned by this family to this person as a graduation gift from the Indian school where they learn how to pretend to be us. So once they get done right, the person that stayed on the land, they wrote them off. And they reclassified them right there on the spot as black or Negro or slaves.
Yeah, they started to redefine the natives and the indigenous. And that's some of the things we knew in the Caribbean, because we knew that our kin, because we married into a lot of those families, we did trade with each other. We were family. So even like where we come from, we have oral traditions and memories of doing marital exchange, doing goods like during certain seasons, especially in Mississippi, Alabama. That's why a lot of us women look very similar to each other, and a lot of our customs in South America and in the Caribbean, it's very similar to the Southern women of today, because we come from the same lineage. We one was on the land, the mainland, and others were further out.
Yeah, and I tell the people, the Portanola used to be where we used to launch trade trips to the islands, where we would get a stuff that they produce, and we would take them stuff that we produce. And that's what the Big Mamas was doing that long before Columbus came this way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And even the traditions, like in New Orleans, a lot of the things we do in the French Caribbean, same thing. I know there was a migration of Haitian women into New Orleans, but still, it wasn't uncommon that they were doing and eating, and the way we clean our rice, we do the same thing. The way that we prepare crawfish or fish, like any sort of seafood in the Caribbean, is the same way we do it in New Orleans. We had a lot of the same traditions because we were interfacing with each other and trading with each other.
Now, another thing that they didn't tell you, more so-called slaves was inter-American trade. They was taking people that was rebellious from New York, put them on a boat and sell them down to Florida.
That's right. Absolutely.
They was taking people from North Carolina, taking them across the land to Mississippi.
That's right. It was a great swap. Yes. Absolutely.
Right. But then they was telling them that the ones on the boat coming from New York going to Florida, they don't know they ain't coming from across the ocean. Yeah. So when they tell them that you on the other side of the ocean, they just rode on the damn boat for 2 weeks.
It's true. It's true.
So and even when this is how they creep their narrative in.
But even when they talk about the boats, the transatlantic boats, when you see the actual images, and if you go to Europe, because Europe holds a lot of the images that the colonizers held, they didn't hide it. Now they have them hidden in museums. You got to sign off in order to see them. But when you look at the original pictures of the boats that they say the slaves were on, those were Europeans coming from Ireland and from England. So, and remember, they were indentured servants. And even the word slave is Slavic. So who were the slaves that they were talking about? It was a bait and switch, saying it was someone of a melanated complexion, but meanwhile, the ones they were considered to be slaves, to my knowledge, were those coming from Europe that were indentured slaves that felt like they were able to come and start a new life and pay off their debts to the English queen.
Yeah, or the king.
Okay. So, I mean, it's interesting that you can, when people battle us or say that you're making things up, you can simply go and travel abroad and see a lot of the archives that are not hidden in Spain. You can go to Morocco. You can also go to the southern part of Italy in the museums and some of the old historical churches and actually see the images of what they perceive to be the people of the Americas, which were all dark-skinned, copper-haired people of all textured hair. Whether it was coiled, higher fro-like, braided, they have images of what they saw when they came into the Americas. And they look like what we look like today.
Oh, my battle cry may give me away.
Can you see this?
Let me see. Wait, the spaceship.
None shall see me. None will see me now. Oh, my battle cry may give me away.
Go background, take your background.
However I can.
Yeah.
How do I do that?
I think these people are still... I don't know.
I don't know how to turn it off. But this is a picture of the slave ship diagram. Right. That slave ship diagram is the blueprint for Notre Dame's cathedral. You can do an overlay from an aerial view of Notre Dame and it'll blow your mind.
Interesting.
Now, why Notre Dame?
You are beginning to bother me.
Notre Dame is a university.
Yeah.
That means that the story of the slave trade was derived to be taught as an education of a people that you won't conquer.
Oh,
So the reason why they keep telling us the slave ship and they showing us the blueprint for Notre Dame, they showing us where they made that BS up at.
So that's where they that's where they created the lie and basically got everyone on board to have this social construct that would be presented later so that we would believe the BS.
Yeah. So this is why when people be like, they got the records, it's one thing they don't understand. In 1900, 99% of the world's population was illiterate.
Very much so. Yes.
Who is the 1% doing all this damn right?
The controllers, the narrative.
Right?
Yeah.
Look, they got slave narrative. The slaves were supposed to be illiterate. Why do you have this poetic description of the slave system from an illiterate ex-slave? That don't make sense.
None will see me now.
And that would blow my mind. I never even thought of that.
If only 1%, if less than 1% of the people was literate, it's even less percent of them that's doing the writing.
Absolutely. There were forms of literacy too. That a lot of them, even if they could read a little bit, may have not even been able to write it.
Yeah.
You're correct. I never thought of that.
Treacherous Thayan stole my beer.
And now, here's the thing. Everybody that studied occult history knows that if you wasn't in a secret society, you wasn't taught how to read.
True. Yes. Even in the sisterhood, when you talk to the old witches and those in the occult practices, the only ones who could transcribe or write anything were people who were high in the order, high priestesses. Yes.
Right. Because part of the process of raising you up from a novice to a master is to teach you literacy over a period of time. This is where modern education is a 12-step detox from critical thinking.
This goes into the story of Yentl, which is a Jewish story. And I don't know if you saw Yentl. It was great with Barbara Streisand back in the days. And this kind of speaks to that. She was a woman who wasn't able to read because they didn't allow it at the time. But only people who were reading and studying were those who were into the yeshivas, who were attending the occult, ritualistic university.
So you go back to, let's say you go back 1,400 years to the time of Muhammad. And they said Muhammad was an unlettered prophet because he couldn't read or write. Right?
Yeah.
But the angel was supposed to be telling him, Iqra, Muhammad. That means read. How you gonna tell an illiterate person to read something? And you supposed to be an angel. They said it was the power of Allah that allowed Muhammad to be able to transcribe the Quran. Muhammad never wrote the Quran.
This is insane. This is all part of the Quran.
Muhammad told the oral tradition. That's why you got hadith.
Yes.
They write down everything he's saying.
Yes.
The problem now is that anything that the Muslim world want to incorporate into the religion, they discover a new set of hadith. So now they keep talking about acceptable hadith and unacceptable hadith. Right? Ones that the scholars agree is a true hadith versus the one the scholars don't want to accept. But what if the one they don't want to accept just will happen to be the truth?
That's always the case. That's always the case. And remember, even in speaking another language, it's all lost in translation a lot of times. If you get someone who they don't like, who transcribes it and translates it in a way that they don't feel is in favor of them, they replace it with someone who doctors the translation and makes it different than how it's actually written.
Yeah. So you started out at one point, the only English translation was Yusuf Ali. Then, like 20 years later, you come up with your Maulana Ali version of the Quran translated into English. Now, you got the Muslim that was the convert from Philadelphia got his own translation because he learned to speak Arabic. You know, you got that going on now. You didn't have that before because the knowledge was restricted to channels that you had to go through certain ranking systems. In the Moore Science Temple, it's called the Adept Chambers. The Adept Chambers is not a physical place, but it's a set of knowledge thresholds that you go through as you learn new information.
Oh.
Right. But when they talk about the Adept Chambers, you think that it's some mystical place in the back of the temple where you take your fez off, walk down this dark tunnel, and pick which one of the chambers you want to go in.
You think it's
and
literal?
When you go in there, it's this Yoda-like master that takes you through all your lessons and then release you from that part of the Adept Chamber. And we'll get the hell out of here.
Yeah. So it's just they're taking more literally.
It's still going to funnel down to 1900. Less than 1% of the people was literate, and even less than that, probably 1% of them actually did writings.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right. You didn't keep manifest unless you was from what they call a business family.
Yeah. Yeah.
The ones who did the trade, international trade, stuff like that, they had ledgers.
Yeah.
Right. But the average person, I'm not writing down that I traded 3 cows for 10 goats.
You're absolutely right. And even when the people were coming into the country, when they were coming over, they couldn't even sign their names. So they would just sign circles or X's. They couldn't even sign their names. That's why a lot of people's names are misspelled, because they didn't even know how to spell their own names.
No, a lot of times you see that X on there, you know what it is?
What is that?
You ever go to the bank and they say, sign right here, and they put an X there?
That's right.
What if you don't sign? It's just an X there.
So the X takes over the signature. Even if one doesn't transfer.
The person who put that X there is the one who's signing the contract. But they putting the X there on your behalf, and you ain't got nothing to do with the contract. Because this is where they want you to sign it.
Interesting. Oh, you just blew my mind.
Yeah, but they use the sharecropper. That's part of sharecropping. Sharecropping was created to take land from people who didn't believe in Southern land. They used the leverage of destroying crops to put you into a bind where you have to use a system. Once they force you to use a system, now they can leverage your land against your debt. That's how they got rid of us off most of these farms. These mega farms was family farms. Everybody in the family that didn't have a profession lived on the family farm.
Yes.
What we would call today your common everyday welfare recipient had a job on the farm. Well, no matter what life got like in the city, they can always go back to Big Mama house, pitch in, eat, got clothing, got shelter. They helped. Everybody pitched in. The sweetheart swindle is how they moved in at the top ranks. Those smooth gentlemen, or gents as they call them, that came from England, that seduced the Big Mama because she was 40 and found his mug, but Big Papa had died 10 years ago. So she lonely. Yeah. He come to town talking. So they made a song. You ever hear this song, Delta Dawn?
Yes. Yeah.
That was the sweetheart swindler. Everywhere he went, he was seducing the women with his charm.
Wow.
That's where you get your term gentleman is extension of the words gentry. The men of the gentry is the gentleman. And these was the ones they sent to seduce the Big Mamas because all of the chiefs of the land refused to sign treaties that involved surrendering land because the women owned the land.
That's right.
So in the sweetheart swindle, the next phase of it is now he done married Big Mama. He got control of the family farm.
Yeah.
But he can't figure out how do he exercise his control. So then they came up with something called spousal right. In our country, the oldest daughter is the first heir to Big Mama's property.
Yes, always. In my culture, the same today. Yes.
In their culture, the spouse is the first heir.
You're right. You're right. Oh, my God.
Okay, that's so they can marry Big Mama. Now he gonna poison.
What?
We gonna think Big Mama just died of a heart attack. What her? Bless her heart, she was so sweet. This sucker done poisoned her. Now he gotta figure out a way to put a buffer between him and the rest of the family that's on the farm.
Hamster has his day.
He becomes Samuel L. Jackson in Django.
Something.
But he hired the Smiths. If it's a clip called the Smith Plantation on YouTube, y'all gotta check it out. He hired the Smiths, which is Palefaces, as a management agency of the farm. So we believe in that the Smiths that he hired as farm managers, right? We believe in that they are the ones who conquered and took over the farm.
Yeah.
All the time, the house Negro, this is why we always hated him. All of the aunties out in the field are talking about, I bet you he did something to my mama. And this is when you came up with your insurrection, because when enough of them women go talk to them uncles in the barn and say, hey, that suck up there ain't right. That house Negro ain't right. Go get it. They was only going through the Paleface because the Paleface was the buffer to get to the house Negro who poisoned Big Mama.
It's like the Moore setup. It's like the Boulay setup. Like
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the insurrections and the slave revolts really the family trying to reclaim the land from the dude that killed Big Mama. Right? It wasn't no slave revolt. It was a family trying to take their plot back from this foreigner that married into the family and brought these Palefaces in. But what's the incentive for the Paleface to go along with it? They had booty rights.
I'm certain I'm not right.
Fornication under the knowledge and the consent of the king.
Ready for anything.
Wait, say that again. Say that again.
Fornication under the consent and knowledge of the king.
So they could have sex with girls on the property.
Fuck rights, yeah.
Holy cow.
So they turned them loose and told them, you can have any of them girls out there. The wenches don't belong to me. That's that old lady I got rid of. That's us folks.
Oh my God.
Right. So they did that because they had to give these Palefaces a drop of blood from us. We wasn't going to volunteer to do it. So they gave them the right to rape under the pretenses of war. What's the spoils of war? The women, the wealth, and the territory, and the children for workforce. Look at it again. All of it, the whole story is in our face. But the way that they broke it up and gave us misleading angles to look at it, we can't put the story quite together like it's supposed to be.
Insane. So they gave him the right to rape the women, and that's where we got the Usepts. They took over the entire area because now they're taking over, birthing children from the different lineages. It's like the natives, like start having sex with the women, creating half-breeds, and those half-breeds are now working in accord with the new colonizers because now they're mixed with them.
Now, while that's going on in the South, over on the East, New York, the New England states, right? While the raping rights is being exercised in the South, they in the North instituting a means of enforcement of what they call government to govern over them. Now, the first thing they had to do was to usurp the already existing governmental structures that was already on the land. You can't come in and use their system and they not take it back over instantly. You have to come with a new system. So the United States corporate constitution written in the blood of Crispus Attucks was written specifically to replace the Iroquois Confederacy, or what we call the Continental Congress Articles of Confederation. The Articles of Confederation of the Continental Congress was an attempt to unify the Iroquois Confederacy and the Cherokee Confederacy to oust the colonizers that were using force to invade the land. So once they got their political structure in place, the South was never fighting to keep slaves. The South was fighting to keep the imposters off the land, the foreigners who was coming over here with ill intent. But they told us in the history books that their South was fighting to hold on to their slaves. And the North was angry because the South had free labor. But the fact of the matter is they had slaves North and South.
They did. Yes.
Right? And a lot of us think it was only in the South. But the slaves was the prisoners of war that was captured, especially the chiefs. The slave auction was the ransoming of the chiefs back to their families or their tribe. Because we knew where all of the wealth of the land was, and they needed leverage to compel us to bring the wealth to the forefront. And they was using the chiefs as the leverage to make the tribes, because the tribes coming to the aid of the chief.
Yeah.
They coming. They will either come by force or by negotiation.
Yes.
But they coming. They want the chief back. And the problem is during the political structure that they developing, they are creating a rift in the identity of the people from the land, and they are telling them that Haitians is Africans when they bring them over.
Yes.
They're telling us that Jamaicans is Africans when they bring them over here.
Yes. So they're causing yeah, you're right.
So while they doing this, they deceiving us the whole time. It wouldn't work if it wasn't for the blood right contract. First blood is called first blood of the sacrifice. The books that they use for the contract called the Bible say, no, the blood of the righteous shall not be spilled in vain. So the parameters that the blood of Crispus Attucks was spilled, what they call the Boston Massacre. Right? That's where the Red Sox come from, the ones who walked through the blood of the elder that was laid out, bleeding out on the street. Those were your Indians from the area, your Boston Indians. Right. Now, the other people masqueraded to be the Indians in order to throw the tea off the ship into the harbor at the Boston.
Tis but a flesh.
They dressed up like us, but it wasn't us.
That's right.
Why would we be complaining about a 2% sales tax on some English
It didn't affect us.
Some English people with shipping?
Yes.
Right? So it had nothing to do with the tribes. But they have us with this, what they call patriarchal national pride, where we became patriots. A patriot is one who follows the patriotic order, not the ones who believe in their country. The matriots or matriots is the ones who follow the matriarchal order and believe in the order of the land, the great law, and the rights of the mothers to inherit the land and govern the land to protect the children and the earth. This is what the tribes believe at their core. That anytime we get displaced, one of the chiefs has to speak up until the mothers know that they had a heritable right and they have the grandfather clause, because it's never been overturned, the mother's right to rule across the land. And when the tribal mothers assert their jurisdiction, then this switches the whole paradigm. It brings the whole system that they created collapsing down, because we don't want to participate in that for two reasons. It's belligerent to the children, it's belligerent to the earth. In the matriarchal order, then the first two questions that the women ask, before we go on with this scientific experiment, if we do this, how will it affect the children? And how will it affect the earth? If both of those are negatively or belligerently, we can't do that. The women don't allow it. It's not allowed. It's barred. And if you get caught doing it, the men gonna behead you. It's just as simple as that. You're not supposed to do nothing that's belligerent to the construct of the tribes, the constitution of the family. Right.
Yeah.
So the children is the future.
They are.
But a lot of grown folks keep forgetting that once you got a baby, it ain't about you no more.
Nope.
You done had your shine. That's why you pregnant.
I'm certain I'm out of sight.
I agree.
It's about this baby now. So we got two options. We can raise this baby to live their best life, or we can get in their way by trying to live our life at the expense of teaching the baby what they need to know to live their best life. And it's only an 18-year sacrifice. But the baby got to come first until the youngest baby reach 18. The baby got to be the first order of business of the household.
I agree.
And all of the women know this. And about 30% of the men know this. But instead of putting the children first, we want to relive our teenage years, get dressed up like we going to a costume ball, we going to the prom every fucking Friday. How many proms we need a year? We don't need a prom every Friday and Saturday night. We don't need to be at the prom. It's not that much priming going on. Right? They faithfully in the club priming every Friday. No special celebration. Just because it's Friday or Saturday night, we finna go to prom again.
That's really sad. That's really sad.
That's because of arrested development that's being taught to us.
Yes.
Right? The arrested development begins when you're 6 years old. That means you get to grow into a 6-year-old adult body. You're 6 years old mentally, emotionally, you have no emotional intelligence. The government is doing this on purpose. It's not that we that dumb.
Oh, it's definitely purposefully done.
It's being done at an early enough age that you don't know what's happening to you. And then once you consume by it, you can't see your way out of it because it's the norm. It's the establishment of a norm that you don't want to break because it's a comfort zone. Now, because it's a norm. Humans are creatures of habit. When you got to change something in your life that you don't want to change, that's disturbing.
It is. It's uncomfortable. But it takes 21 days to change a habit, right?
Yeah,
around
or
that
to create one.
Yes. And fasting helps. You know, usually when people want to initiate it as quickly as possible, fasting helps to do so. It just kind of empties.
It focuses the energy.
Yeah. This is it's so deep, but so appropriate that this is what's going on. And we have adults that are kind of, I don't want to use the word because now the word is considered, remember we used to use the word retarded, but now it's been, deemed.
Retarded, Flubber, and they're retarded. Retarded is no more of a bad word than calling them slow.
I agree.
Look, that's just so they can try. They was using retarded specifically to make reference to people with Down syndrome.
Yeah.
Which is actually a superpower.
Yeah, actually, they actually are hyper-focused. My mother was a special ed teacher. They're like savants. Like, they hyper-focus, and they're almost hyper-geniuses, like in specific things. Yes.
Yeah. But most of the time, because of their learning style, it's abstract. Yeah. Nobody knows how to teach them effectively. Every now and then, you come along with somebody that can make the connection and teach that particular one.
Yeah, they have different focal points, and they just need to be, geared and purposefully create a structure and a teaching.
ADD and ADHD.
Yeah.
Most ADD and ADHD, especially for boys, is lack of grounding and lack of external outside play.
Yeah, stimulus.
Boys supposed to roughhouse. They're supposed to climb trees, fall out the tree, break his arm. Go home, mom and daddy patch him up, send him out there, now he climbing the tree with a cat.
Yeah, little pirate.
That's boy stuff.
It is. They're not
now you got him in a Skinner box.
Yeah.
Now you got him in a Skinner box, waiting on his Pavlovian bell to tell him when it's time to go to his next class. That's totally not natural to the child.
Says,
No.
wow.
It's
And then
normal
they
for
wonder why
higher.
the children not growing up behaving like normal humans.
Yeah, they
We
contribute.
got them in an unnatural environment.
Yeah. And then they end up chemicalizing themselves and usually having habits to try to balance out what's imbalance in them, and they don't understand what that is. I think the structure of teaching should allow boys, even the rite of passage you hear in the tribes and the African tribes, allowing the boys to go out into the world and, start to
Yes.
grow and advance hunting and fishing and, stalking and, learning discipline. These are all beautiful things that I think all of us used to do, all of our tribes used to do. We had certain rites, a passage, and how we geared and raised our boys.
You are beginning to bother me.
Over here, let's say your totem animal is the wolf. And you're going to be a soldier in your tribal military. When you get a certain age, they're going to give you a knife, bow and arrow, then you out there, go back with this wolf.
However I can.
Now, mind you, wolves run in packs.
What
They do.
Attacking one wolf is attacking the whole pack.
That's right.
So he got to know how to get the wolf without invoking the rage of the whole pack. And he only have a knife and his bow and arrow. When he come back, he bring the wolf back, nothing went to waste. And the pelt was used to make his military armament, his uniform. You can go to Google right now and say Indian wearing coyote, or Indian wearing wolf, or Indian wearing bear. The ones in the bear clan, that's those 7 foot tall dudes from Mississippi. They look like the Brian James.
Oh.
And they like 7 foot tall. Right? Them was the ones they used to have to go get a black bear.
So they were suitable for the feat that they were expected to achieve.
Now you had the ones like Shaq. Those was the Mississippians, the ones that looked like Shaq. Those was the ones who wear bison pelts in a herd of bison in order to get close enough to you in that herd to stab out and do something to you. This is why they thought that the bison turned into the natives. That was the old Mississippian tribe. The old Mississippian spider lady. The one who teaches weaving, the great mother of weaving to the tribe.
Yes.
That's a Mississippi big mama. The white buffalo woman. Right? She looked young in the face. She normally, kind of stout but shapely. And sing like her voice rumble like Mahalia Jackson. Right? And some of them used to blow flute. They used to make flute. And they used to blow flute. And then some of them...
I have a memory of that. Yes, yes.
And so the flute was also used, the pattern of the flute was used to make a peace pipe.
Yes.
So instead of putting holes in the flute, you put one hole at the end and you turned it into a peace pipe.
That's right.
And then she put the feather around it, sometimes 2 feathers, in order to give it to the daughter who's responsible to carry the tribal rank of buffalo race, white buffalo race.
Yes, my father-in-law gave that to me. Yes. It's a rite of passage, and it goes to the one who holds that next position. True. Yeah.
I'm ready.
So when they disassociate us, we need to change our story and repaint other faces on top of the story. It don't mean we forgot the story. It don't mean we forgot the story. We see the wrong face on the story and be like, yeah, that's our story, but who them people?
Who them be? Yeah.
Who them is?
Yeah.
And the MK Ultra program is the propaganda. You got to remember, Sigmund Freud's nephew or brother wrote the manual of propaganda.
I think so. Yes. Yeah.
I can't think of his name.
I studied that. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So propaganda is also advertising. When you study advertising, when I was studying advertising, I couldn't understand why they keep talking about
Treacherous man stole my bit.
right? Where they telling you how, yeah. So they telling you through advertising how to seduce somebody with no people in the street. Right. Like the cold glass of water with the bubbles on the outside.
Yes.
The mist. Then you got the orange in there, the bright colored orange. This is subliminal seduction at its finest.
Yes, absolutely. Using certain colors, textures, visuals that stimulate a certain part of the cerebral cortex to invoke a response. Yes.
So they had a lot of study in how to use this stuff. The religious branch you talked about, you remember Guyana and Jim Jones, right?
Yep, absolutely.
His best friend was a MKR operative. He trained people in MK Ultra
I didn't know that.
mind control techniques. Now, in San Quentin, he had 2 prized students. Not Jim Jones, his best friend, who was a CIA asset.
Interesting.
His 2 key students, his two most promising students was given instructions. One of his students' name was Joseph Senku. His real name was Calvin DeFries, but they blew his ass up. Right? His other key or prominent student, most gifted student, name was Charles Manson.
No. That was his homeboy?
That was the student.
The operative's homeboy.
It was his student.
Oh, it's student. Okay.
Okay, now, those his 2 key students. Now, let me take you back to Joseph Senku for a minute.
Please.
Do you know what he was doing?
No.
Joseph Senku was the leader of the Symbionese Liberation Army that was kidnapping wealthy billionaires' children, turning them into bank robbers. Patty Hearst?
Yes.
The group needs me?
That's who had kidnapped Patty Hearst. They team. They changed her name to Titania. Right? Now, the instructions, both of them did exactly what the opposite of what they was told to do. Joseph Senku was instructed at the fall of the Panthers to organize the boys into an army so that they can fight the pale faces in the Helter Skelter War.
That's right, with the reverse, the White Album, the Beatles' White Album that Charles Manson obsessed with talking about the race war.
Okay, now, Senku, instead of recruiting black soldiers, he started recruiting the children of elite palefaces.
Yes.
Some of them they went and got by force. Some of them they just had conversations with them and they volunteered.
Yes.
Right now. And that's not the army that the agent told him to form. Now, the other side of the coin is Charles Manson. Charles Manson was told to get a group of white kids from Middle America and turn them into a militant white nationalist army.
Okay.
This is why he did all the years in prison, what I'm about to tell you next. Instead of recruiting them to be an army, he told the whole program.
He exposed himself. He was
the first whistleblower.
That's right, because he said everything. That's why they locked him up. They didn't keep. You're right. Because why would they lock him up if it was one of their assets? They did it because he already blew the lid open.
So much.
He was telling the children of the family, or the girls in the family, about fluoridating the water.
That's
What they
right.
were planning on doing. Deforestation in order to terraform the land. He was telling them about all this stuff, and then he was telling them about the Helter Skelter war that the government was trying to recruit, get black leadership and white leadership to recruit armies to fight each other.
Yes. Yes.
Right. He was telling it all. He told it all.
Wow.
And that's why they had to get rid of him. Now, Charles
Why didn't they kill him
Manson,
though? Okay.
listen, when you read Charles Manson case,
Yes.
nobody ever said Charles told them to kill anybody.
He said yes. He never did. He never did. That's true.
He never told nobody. Now, they all said the same thing. The girl said that we believe Charlie wanted us to do it. And when they was pressed with the question, they say, well, how did you know? They said, because Tex told us.
If you could carry me.
Tex was an FBI asset.
Yes?
My last moments are upon
So they had someone accompanying him who actually did the verbalization of what
They
they
put they put an Asian in there to get the girls to commit the Helter Skelter murders so that they can charge Charles Manson as the mastermind and get him off the street because he went rogue. He went rogue.
to set him up.
Yep.
Very. There seems to be no end to the things
They
you
just
do.
blew Joseph Sinku
Not
up.
the high forest.
They had a long shootout and it was like just blow him up. The government literally on the 6 o'clock news blew his ass up. Police blew him up. I'm not talking about light a fire. I'm talking about like rocket launcher, like boom, blow him up. They blew him up.
And not know where you were or how
To
long
make sure
you
everything was done. They like boom, like TNT worthy.
Yeah. They let the house burn to ashes. They didn't even try to put the fire out and rescue nobody.
Oh, they wanted to.
They wanted to make sure they was dead. That's
Yeah.
why I keep telling people. Same thing with Philadelphia, '84. Moving.
That's right. When they bombed the whole neighborhood, they bombed the
Go
house.
find out why they wanted Giant Africa gone.
domestic bliss, eh? Not my cup
We
of
so stuck on the fire, we don't know why they did it. You got to know the motive.
Please tell me, just real quick, because I know everybody's curious. Tell us why.
Giant Africa was teaching. He was rebuilding tribal structure in their face. He was teaching holistic living. He was teaching harmony, one with the universe, one with the earth. This is why they wanted him gone. And he was exerting his tribal right as a chief to own his block.
Yeah. Yeah.
He didn't try to get the whole country. He didn't try to get the whole city. And now, on top of all of that, guess who gave the order? Somebody that looked like us, but they ain't us.
That's always how they do it. They get one of us to get in there to create the to call the duty.
They don't get us to do it. Them niggas was gonna do it anyway for burn. That's what they here for.
Wow.
That's who we fighting. We not fighting no pale faces.
Oh no, we're not.
Pale
We're
faces
fighting.
ain't
Yeah.
got no power.
You're right. You're absolutely correct. Yes. Yes, you're right.
Okay, so we fighting the one. We was only all our major
I would vote to stop and
freedom
rest.
fighting movements was always infiltrated by somebody that looked like us.
Absolutely. That's the ones they send in every single time.
Look, every time we let Paleface in, Paleface will lose his life before he trade on
What
us.
can I do?
Because we wouldn't trust it.
Right? But every time we get turned on, it's somebody that look like us.
Infiltrate, eliminate. Yeah.
Garvey,
Yeah.
Noble Ali,
That's right.
Malcolm X.
Yeah. Yeah. Even with
It's more easy to count the ones of us that will deliberately take out by pale faces than it is to count the ones of us that was infiltrated by Negroes.
yeah. Look at MK. Look at Malcolm X. Yeah, but also MK. Malcolm. What is it? MLK. MLK. Yeah. He also was infiltrated. Jesse Jackson supposedly was in on it, right?
There was a whole bunch of them Christian ministers, you know.
Yep. And
See,
the same one, yeah, the same Jesse
they
Jackson.
was all under contracts to the clergy to the Catholic Church by 501c3 connections.
Say it.
See, anybody that was running the church had to have a certificate as a reverend, right? But the ones they called jackleg preachers, they was teaching the tribal stuff. And they didn't come through school. They didn't go to eschatology. Right? They didn't go to Bible school. The university, the Jim Baker University, they didn't go to that. They came up in the church under somebody else that was running the church. Them the ones don't have no contracts. Them the ones that eventually start questioning what's being taught in the church. So they got to get rid of them.
Yeah.
So the ones that's under the contract is the ones that's responsible to get rid of the ones that's a problem.
Yeah.
Right? And they won't say nothing about Eddie Long wrecking choir boys, but they tell you everything about this other preacher over here sleeping with his congregation's wives. Right? Because they're selective about who they want to get rid of, who they want to keep.
What?
And the ones that can bring in the most amount of dollars is normally the ones they want to keep. The T.D. Jakes, the Freddie Price, you know, those are the heavy hitters. When you go to the background on Freddie Price, he was part of a Christian network of high-ranking ministers that included people like Kenneth Copeland. Right? He did a whole series called Sex, Religion, Race, Racism, and Religion, where he was going over discrimination in the church, the mosque, the Nation of Islam. He going over everything. But what was it about? His son wanted to marry one of them teachers' daughters, and he said, my daughter ain't marrying no daughter. If Freddie Price is like, my son is any much as good as your daughter, if he ain't better.
You are beginning to bother.
Right? And they call themselves being in love. Whether it was or not, I don't know. I wasn't there with them people. But this was the catalyst that made him do the lecture.
Yeah.
Right? That means he was being discriminated against within the network of ministers that he worked with. So that make me wonder if he actually died of natural causes or if they ain't poisoning him some kind of way.
They probably did. Allegedly. T.D. Jakes is, T.D. Jakes is supposedly, isn't that the one they call the power bottom?
Yep.
Yeah, the mighty power bottom. Yeah. Boy.
Right. T.D. Jakes is tied into another Houston, Atlanta, and a couple more southern cities. It's a collaboration of Christian ministers, and he's the one who bring in the most money.
I know all that I think I do.
He look like he look official as Reverend Pork Chop.
Disturbing realization. I would continue to travel with you if you would allow me.
And he was one of Puffy's
there is so much I am not aware of. I must discover
constituents that used to come and visit those wonderful.
I don't know. I heard. I don't know. I don't really like talking about the Puffy situation because Clive Davis was supposed to go down, and I ain't heard no Mr. Clive.
That is true.
And if they ain't Mr. Clive during the trial, he wasted his damn time with them free cars.
It's true. Well, first of all, it's not a crime. Let's just state that, right? Being a freak ain't never gonna crime.
It's not against the law to be free.
It's not. And if we're going to demonize Sean Combs, then we need to go back to the Bunny mansion, the Playboy Bunny mansion, which had a lot of insidious behavior that was happening way before Mr. Sean Combs was even born. And there wasn't any.
They had spread back in the 70s with Shield.
Oh. When she was a little girl, right?
Yeah. People be forgetting that.
Mm-hmm.
That cover. Like 11.
Yeah, that cover was insidious.
I'm certain I'm
Remember she did Blue Lagoon? We saw that one.
And she was older. She was like 16 in Blue Lagoon.
She was older then, but they had sexualized her. Because a lot of the shows when I was a little girl we watched, you kind of like we grew up with her, like watching her as a little girl growing up, but they sexualized her nice and early, and she was a prime victim of the pedophile ring that was connected to the bunny mansion, to the Playboy mansion.
And then another victim of that sex trafficking in Hollywood was the girl that played in Poltergeist. Her last name was what?
Yes, the little girl, that they made her skin of shoes and killed her, allegedly.
You know who tried to protect her, right?
Who?
Do you know the guy who played the Fonz?
Yes.
Yeah, he almost lost his life trying to protect her.
I simply have no room. You're right.
You remember Freddie Boom Boom Washington from Welcome Back, Kotter?
Of course.
I think his name something Jacobs.
I don't know his real name.
Yeah, Jacobs, I think his name is.
Yeah.
Anyway, they blackballed him because he wouldn't do the freak-offs with the kids. He was like, I ain't in that freaky ass shit. Y'all, something wrong with y'all people. And then they blackballed him. Guess who brought him back?
Who?
Michael Jackson brought him back.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that.
Jackson. That's the reason he brought him back, because of why he was blackballed from the industry. He wouldn't let him do the Jackson movie unless they cast him as Joe, because they knew the allegations they was making on Joe. They was trying to say Joe was freaky with the kids.
Every hamster has his day.
But Mike didn't agree. But he used the person that was blackballed for not being freaky with the kids to play his father.
Wow. I had no clue. I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a lot of those actors that they make one or two movies be good as hell, and all of a sudden they disappear.
Yep.
They won't play the game.
They won't get compromised. Yeah.
Yeah, they won't play the game. I'm not drinking no baby blood. What's wrong with you people?
It's true. And also the reason why they want them to do that is so they can use it as leverage and control for them to move in accordance to whatever agendas they have rolling for us and them.
Yeah, we think that the Epstein Island is new. Epstein Island got black and white footage of black and white actors doing freaky stuff to kids and adults. They've been using that as a blackball thing in Hollywood from the beginning.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because you remember that all of they great starring men, they were saying that they was undercover homosexual.
Yes.
So they was using their homosexual exposure to threaten their careers, because at the time it was totally unacceptable.
Yeah, that was absolutely taboo. That was the time frame where that wasn't something that was being promoted or projected or incentivized.
Right. So you got guys like Rock Hudson, heartthrob leading man.
Yeah.
Right. And the women loving him. So Hollywood don't want to tell the women he's gay.
No.
He don't want them to know, because it's going to cut off his bottom dollar. Right? And so you got a whole lot of those actors like that.
Tom Cruise, John Travolta, yes.
Yeah, they was being used exposure of their videos of them having sexual encounters with men. Right? The ones who didn't like men, they would some kind of way, sometimes they get them drunk and send an underage girl in there, and they don't know she underage.
That's right. Set them up. Yeah.
Right. But they got it on video.
Yep.
Back then they had it on film.
Oh, that's right.
Put it in a projector to watch it on the screen.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. So it's not new. And it's also like the precursors to Operation Mockingbird, because it's through the Mockingbird control of the news that you have your Tucker Carlson's that was high in intelligence end up being a newscaster.
Yes.
What's the other one with the white hair?
The all white hair, right? He's like a older gentleman now in his 50s.
But
No, in his 60s.
his face still look kind of young, but he got that
Yeah.
white hair.
Oh God, I know his name. Hold on. Who said it in the chat? What's his name, y'all? Y'all know his name. Tell me what his name is in the chat. You know him. I've actually seen him in Brazil. He was actually so at a place I was at. Yeah. What's his name?
They actually got him from
Anderson Cooper. Anderson Cooper.
Yeah, Anderson Cooper. That's his name.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like they replace you with lookalikes because you signed you to a contract to own your image and likeness.
That's right. So you could be replaced by a clone or a simulated version of you. Yes.
Or they use more lookalikes to actual clones.
I agree. Yeah, I think I've seen that in a lot of versions.
Like this new Dave Chappelle, he don't sound like Dave Chappelle. He don't look like Dave Chappelle.
He don't have the weed. He had a weed. You know the way his mouth was, like the different. He had a weed look because he used to smoke a certain way. He doesn't have that anymore. That's years of smoking a certain way. That does not go away. There's no surgery for that. There's nothing for that. When he came back, he doesn't have that. That's a natural thing that he accrued over time.
Not to mention, he's about 3 inches taller and about 40 pounds heavier.
See?
But you won't know if you don't see the pictures of him with certain actors back in the early 2000s or even as far back as the 90s. And then you see how tall them actors is compared to the new Dave Chappelle. Yeah. You don't grow that much after you fucking 25 years old.
He did a growth spurt, Rod. What you talking about, Rod? He did a growth spurt after that age. Same with, I think Beyonce's Shakira. I think, I know it sounds crazy, but Shakira and Beyonce, you ever see that video? It's one of my favorite older videos. It's like when they're dancing like snakes and they look almost like twins. And I was like, if you look at her now, I'm like, Beyonce got a little lighter and she's dancing a little differently. She might be a Shakira version, or maybe Shakira had a double that is taken on as Beyonce sometimes. That's my theory.
Or they could be channeling the same energy in their rituals.
Yeah, because they have a likeness, which is interesting. Yeah. Well, I don't want to hold you because you're off the chain, and I always hold you too long. But this time I'm gonna be appropriate because it's like having you as my house guest and keeping you hostage. So this time I'm gonna be appropriate, right? I don't say I keep you hostage. You know what I mean? You're off planet. You made me happy just looking at you off planet for this first time, right? It pleases me to see you off planet. But I would like to have a couple questions if you're okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to actually have my group, the Zombies, actually ask you a couple questions. Hold on a second. Let me kind of get them in here and see what things they have to ask you about.
Don't do too many at one time because I get a headache.
Oh no! I'll do one at a time. It's better one at a time. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me add. Where are they? Okay, zombies. I'm activating you. They're not zombies quite yet. It's too early still. There'll be zombies in a minute. Hold on. Let me get it out. Here we go. Okay. Okay, I'm going to add the link. Come in one at a time. Ask a question. I'm just going to take a couple questions. And also, can one of our C-Stars put in Rod's Cash App? I love when he comes on. He comes in freely. He never asks for anything. I think he's so gracious. Can we all just give him a little appreciation, a little love, a little incentive so that he'll come back to Fleur Bruin's platform every once in a while? Please? Thank you very much. Okay, so I have one of our C-Stars. Let's see. I'll take okay, we have one already. So let me bring in my C-Star, Oracle. Okay. I think I brought her. Hey, Mama. Are you in here, Oracle? There she goes.
She on mute.
There she goes. Hey. Hey, Mama.
I was just about to put his, hey, Brother Chief Rod, hey, thank you. I was just about to put his Cash App in the thing.
Yeah, please. Thank you.
I just wanted to ask, with like, there's been like a heavy increase with the blackouts and the sound weapons and the timeline glitches, in all the cities across the U.S. and even Canada. Is the government preparing for the Anunnaki contact, or is the Anunnaki themselves collapsing the old systems?
It's a collaboration between most of the stuff done on Earth have to be done by people of the Earth.
And raring to go.
The Anunnakis is just here. They just making sure that somebody don't get pissed off and shoot a missile, a nuclear missile off. Right. That's the only thing they care about right now. They just want the Earth people are restructuring everything. And everybody is watching it, but they don't even know what they're looking at. Right? But everything is being changed over into a new
As long
system.
as my needs are served.
When the new system come online, then hey, all I can tell y'all is we rich.
Gratitude.
Yeah. Thank you, Oracle. I love you.
Thank you, Brother Raj.
Okay. Exit out because we're going to be back on Zoom later, so I don't want to X you out. So, okay. Thank you, love. Okay, let's go to our next question. Let's go. Okay, we've got Darlene in the house, one of our other sea stars. Come in, Darlene. You're getting the sweetest sea stars, beautiful matriarchal women coming in. Maybe because I adore them, but I'm a little biased. Hey, Darlene.
You on mute, Darlene?
Come on in. Hey, Mama. Come on in.
I just wanted to join in. I was just enjoying everything and listening. Just happy to be here.
Good. Do you have anything you want to ask, Rod? Anything you're curious? She's our chicken mama. She's got a wonderful bunch of hens and chickens. And Tweety? Tweety's like her favorite rooster. He's a little naughty, though. Tweety's a little buck wild.
He is.
Rooster fight an eagle. You can mess with them chickens.
Oh, yeah. He's buck wild.
He is, and he is about to be a papa.
Oh, his first brood.
Yes.
Congratulations. You are now a grandmother of the hens.
Yes.
Good for you. Well, thank you. You want to ask the question or no? Or yes? Maybe?
Hey, y'all remember that Sam Cooke song, Red Rooster?
Yes. Yes.
When it comes to, like, I was talking to my sister about us being indigenous, and she is so gung-ho on the transatlantic slave trade, and she doesn't want to deny what happened there. And how do I, like she did tonight, say that she realized that she has connection to the land in Florida, and like our grandmother who lived in Chambers County, Alabama, and where we live now in northeast Alabama. But still, she has that I can't let go of Africa and the transatlantic slave. And it's
That's
like, how
the Ultra program.
Yes. But she
Let me ask you, how old is your sister?
50.
Error!
Okay. And when did she start hearing about the men from Africa? How long ago?
Probably within the past 5-10 years.
Okay, so let's just say 10 years, where she would have been 40, right?
Yeah.
Now, your whole life for 40 years, you've been taught something. True or not true? All of a sudden, you get 40 years old, and you realize somebody taught you something that wasn't true. And your ability to shake off what you already know, to accept what you recently learned, is in conflict in your inner self.
Yeah.
Okay, now, just like it took her time to admit what she admitted today, she still needs time. And here's the irony of when people need time to understand what's going on. It take how long it take. Ain't nobody got no time schedule to realize the false narrative and then what really happened to change their mind to see clearly that they have to make us believe in somewhere else in order to compel us to surrender our birthright to the land.
Yeah.
If they give us our birthright, we won't need reparations because they won't have no way to reparate us.
You must gather your party before venturing forth.
And I let her know that too. I was like, if it's our birthright, that's why. I was like, why would they tell us the truth? They sprinkle a little bit of truth in the lie. Mm-hmm. The boat ride, yeah, there was a boat ride, but it was within the Americas.
Yeah. They actually have maps and all this educational material that shows these things. The North slave, intercontinental slave trade, where they was moving us around on the land under the pretense of prisoners of war. But they rebranded under Slavs.
Tell them to come.
We ain't from Yugoslavia, so we can't be a slave anyway. Right? We're not from the Slavic, Indo-European or Neo-European family group. So we can't really be we can't be a slave by definition. But they use the term to control the narrative.
I can only tell you to come back when our
right? Because the slave narrative is hatched in Notre Dame. We were talking about that earlier. Once you understand how the military strategy being used against us in conjunction with all 9 areas of people activity and number 10 being help, common denominator between all of them. All of those are areas that they attacking us on to keep us from ever waking up to the reality of who we are on this land. Right. So it's hard for people to see it until you walk them through the information step by step. And then it becomes so obvious that it melts the lie away on its own. You don't have to fight the lie no more. Because the overwhelming truth is outshining that dull ass lie.
That's right. Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Darlene. I'm going to speak to you later. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
I'll talk to you later.
Tanana told me to meet you here. I am to escort Daxus.
Also, I have a question for you, Rod. That's our amazing Sean Edwards. I love him. He's spoken to you before. He's one of our Sun Stars. He has a question for you. He says his question, Brother Rod, is what should parents do to be prepared for in-school systems, for when their parents to be prepared for in the school system? That's his question. Thank you, Sean.
Did he say in the school as in IN or END?
In, like he says, be prepared for in the school, like being in the school system.
The school system is about to be shut down, first of all, because it's the enemy's attempt to control our children.
That's right.
So the women's responsibility is going to be to determine how the layout. I have some suggestions that I've made to several different women about how the educational programming should be laid out, but we're going to do away with school. School is an English word from a Yiddish word. Shul. Shul is a Yiddish word borrowed from a Hebrew word, Sheol. If you translate Sheol directly into English, they're going to say it's hell, the abode of darkness, the dismal abyss. This is where you're sending your children under Rockefeller control.
To try to help him.
Because they're the ones who said that they'd rather have a nation of workers than a nation of thinkers.
Woo! Coming from,
and finance all of the textbooks that would be to follow. Right. So they wanted to train us and not educate us. That's why they took critical thinking out of all of the
That's right. Absolutely.
Now, if you want your child to learn critical thinking, practical problem solving, you either got to teach it to them on your own, which is the best way to teach it to them, or you have to move them to a private or suburban school that have critical thinking K through 12 in the curriculum.
Well, they raise private schools where you pay a lot of money. They don't do curriculum for the first couple of years. They build self-esteem. They're building leaders. It's a totally different agenda. But that's
called academia.
Yes.
It's a three-tier educational system: Volksschule, Realschule, and academia.
Yeah.
Volksschule is false school. That's where they teach them the lies. Management is taught at real school. That's where they teach them how to govern the ones that went to the Volksschule. And then academia. It's the 1% that's taught to be the thinkers, the leaders, and tell the managers what they need the lower level to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you.
Right. So this is taken from Tavistock documents that they got when Germany was broke up. The information that made the Nazi Party so powerful in Germany was disseminated against the nations of Europe and America. Operation Paperclip brought all of the scientists that was part of the Nazi cabinet as the aeronauticals and engineers and built NASA.
We contracted them. Yeah.
Well, in Russia, they got all of the metaphysical information and began to produce the psychic spies. And the people that bend spoons with their mind and telekinetically do things, right?
Yeah.
So Russia got that part of the research from the Nazi Party, right? But then Tavistock, England got the psychological documents, all of the psychology that was being practiced over there. This is how we ended up finding out about the Russian science Ivan Pavlov, right? By getting the documents, we ended up finding about, we got American scientist B.F. Skinner over here putting people in boxes to program their mind. Crazy ass. And all of this, Sigmund Freud came from France.
Yeah.
But he went to Africa and learned from the shamans what he called today psychiatry.
Yes.
The chemical balancing of the brain and the chemical imbalancing. And this is why psychiatrists issue medication, but psychologists deal with your thinking
And that's
process.
with the chemistry of the brain. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Last question. Oh, sorry. Last question. I'm staying on time. I'm staying on mark. I'm behaving tonight. I have our amazing Sun Star. Alex is coming in, our young Sun Star. Come on in, Alex.
Hello. Is my mic working?
Yes. Hey, Alex.
Awesome. Hey, Rod. How's it going?
What's going on?
Good. I appreciate you showing up tonight. I watch a lot of your content. It's pretty amazing. So, just to give you a quick background on myself, my mom is Japanese, and my dad Haitian, and I was born October 4th, 97. So, in terms of numerology and astrology, real life path, born on 4th and Libra. And I just have 2 quick questions here. The first one is the number 4 has always been associated with me, and almost every day I'll see 444 somewhere. Just random. It could be my time, it could be a card play, it could be an address, and it just 444 for like my whole life. Everywhere I see it, and it's been a lot more obvious the last, I'd say, about a year and a half. And I just want to know what your thoughts and opinion is on that.
Okay, so first I want to ask you this. What side of your bloodline comes from Haiti, your mother or your father?
My dad.
Your dad? Okay, none. You have a heart connection with your mother. 10-4, right? CD code means affirmative. Okay. 10 is 10 toes down. 4 is on the square.
None shall see.
Being on the square meaning that you're standing in your position. Right? The square is a mama's game called four-corner stuff. Right? And it's an algebra equation because you being a son, there's a y involved, which is an unknown variable.
None shall see me.
So you got to play a game of the two-ball king in order to get to the game of four-corner shuffle. That means redeeming the fatherland in order to be capable of redeeming the motherland.
Looking to buy
The
some
44 is the angel that's in flight. The 444 is the angel on his post. So the angel on his post at 444 being born 10-4 is 10 toes down on the square, which means you was a mama's boy. A mama's boy is going to exercise whatever he can to protect his mama. He's going to be obsessed about protecting his sisters. It's just your nature.
I do not wish to end our pairing before
So the Libra in you tell you that your best performance comes in when you find balance.
You are beginning to
balance
bother
between
me.
your motherland and your fatherland. Right? And this how the fours end up giving you access to sevens. Because the father got 3 X's, but the mama got 4. But when you put them together, it's 7X. You're talking chromosomes now. So you're talking numerology, relaying spirit message to be translated by understanding the science of numbers, applying them to your birth date, which the day you come in here tells you the day that you begin your journey of through your book of life, right? How you come in, like you came in 10-4, 10 toes down on the square. That means you was born to be upright. Right, but you have to also don't be disrespectful to your mother and your father by keeping the balance. It's written as this: honor thy mother and thy father, that the days may be long on this earth. That means don't take sides in the differences between the motherland and the fatherland. Instead, find harmony and balance in the similarities and the things that you can build your family on from that foundation, because 4 is also foundation. That's why it's square.
Okay, thank you. And just another quick question here. When I'm not quite sure how to explain it. I just call it my experiences because it's not a dream, but it happens when I sleep, right? And I'll experience a lot of things, and it's been almost like every night. You know, I'll always see. It's very vivid. It's very it feels very real. A lot of the times to the point where it feels more real than right now. You know, and just recently about let's say about a little bit over a month ago, I got up from my bed. Right, I literally thought I got up to my bed, and I realized I wasn't in my bed. Like not the bed here. It was like a completely different bed in a completely different room, and I was surrounded by these this group of melanated women, and they look very similar to like those the women in the Black Panther movie, like the bald women with weapons. Yeah. So they looked like that, but she had a dress. You know, she had a very kind of like very nice dress. And then she I stood up and I kind of was looking around. I was panicking a little bit, and then she just kind of gently put me on the bed, and she told me my name because I don't know, just like I was kind of panicking because I was confused. You know, it wasn't here. I didn't wake up here. You know, I woke up in a completely different place, and this wasn't a dream. Like this definitely didn't feel like a dream. This felt like it felt more real than here. You know, it felt very physical. Everything. You know, I saw my body and my everything, like the room, everything, and for some reason, I just instinctively, I just said, what's my name, right? And then she said, my name is Zale, and I'm one of the princes of Atlantis. And I'm kind of curious, have you heard of the name Zale before? I'm just really, and I'm going to be honest, I haven't said this yet. I know I only said this to very few people because even saying it now, I'm kind of cringing a little bit because if somebody were to come up to me and be like, "Hey, I was told I'm a prince of Atlantis," I'd probably laugh at them. But I'm just kind of curious if you've heard or if you know anything about something like that.
What is it, you preposterously petulant snicket?
Is a name in reference to Zaza. Zaza was an ancient elder in Atlantis, and the ones that were his students were called Zale. El is another shortened version of Elohim. So they were the princes being trained by Zaza.
This land is fine.
He was the one who teach princes how to be ambassadors to the world.
Free through the snow.
And Zale is a student of Zaza.
Oh my gosh, I'm so bugging out right now. Oh, I'm bugging.
Atlantean writes a passage program designed for. That's why I was like, oh, he said, damn. I'm like, oh, he one of them.
He's masterful. Alex is really powerful. It's interesting you said that. I definitely think that's true. Yeah.
It's the same concept as Melchizedek, the high priest. And then it's saying Jesus, who was made a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek.
Yeah.
Melchizedek is the spiritual teacher. And Jesus, the character, is his student. It's the same thing with Zaza and Zael. Zael is like it's not a personal name. It's like saying pupil or student.
Interesting.
Okay, yeah, because I'm kind of doxing myself already, but my name is Alex, and an anagram for my name Alex is Zael, and I've always kind of like, you know, I have this like little YouTube channel, just kind of like, and then I have a lot of memories, you know, can't really like put them all perfectly together, but I just know they're memories, they're not dreams or anything like that. And I kind of put it all into videos, and the character in there is me, you know, and I named him Zael. And then when I tell the AI to because it's like an overlay of like of a woman speaking, and she's like narrating, and she never says Zael, she always says Zale, right? And it kind of like bothered me for a moment, but I said, you know what, I know, it is what it is, you know, kind of let it fly, you know? We'll let her call me Zale, right? And then yeah, that's why it kind of like it was a little bit of a almost like a shock, you know, when I got up in a completely different bed, and I asked her, you know, what my name was, and she said my name was Zale, not Zael, but Zale. And also, I don't know if this person is Zaza, but like you said, Zaza, but I am aware that I do have like a mentor, like a master figure, and it's a tall, melanated woman with white hair, like long, straight, whitish gray hair. I don't know if that's how Zaza looks or not, but yeah, that's kind of all I have.
Thank you, Alex.
That's the spiritual big mama with the gray hair. In the spiritual realm, all of the worlds, the princes of the earth, have a spiritual big mama, and then they're going to have a physical big mama that they be able to latch on later in life in order to be able to put everything back in its proper order.
Beautiful.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Alex. I appreciate it. Okay, y'all. I want to thank. Oh my gosh! I want to thank again another masterful, amazing interview with the. You know, he calls himself the 8 Man, which I think is kind of cool because you know my thing with 8s. You know what I'm saying? But he came on again. He served us with some masterful information. I want to thank you. I was going to call you Alex. Sorry, because Alex was there. I want to thank you, Rod, so much for coming on and just gracing us with all of the information and just enlightening us. I'm so appreciative, and everyone here is always so happy and grateful when you come on. Every time you come on, like you get like the fans out group that is like, yo, we love Rod, you gotta have him on there. Thank you so much for coming on, and again, really just enlightening me, and just allowing this information to flow and to be shared. Thank you again.
And you know, our chemistry, like, and I posted, and I go look at the comments on the post that I was gonna be on your show tonight.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, y'all got great chemistry. I love when y'all do something together. You got great chemistry.
They love us together. I remember like kids. Like remember I told you, like when I came into this realm, I remember you were the first person I saw, and I told you were sitting on like this like like this like a wood, and you had this weird kind of smoking thing that you had. I don't know what kind of material it is, just like you do now. And it was like you were the first person I met when I came in, and it seems like you're one of the last before I get out of this and blow this taco stand, Rod. And it seems that you may want to come with me. Don't fight it, Rod. Just come off world with me. You'll be safer, at least until the animals and the sociopaths and psychopaths leave. Or you can stay with the trial. I'll visit you next round, okay? Just maybe not for a couple hundred years. Okay.
I'm gonna tell you this. I'm not finna be fooled for knowing these guys. I know that.
I know that's right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I'll stay where I'm at. I don't think I want to be on nobody's dinner table.
Remember the To Serve Man? Y'all got to see that episode. And what was it, the Twilight Zone, right? Was it the Twilight Zone? It was the Twilight Zone, right? Yeah, I think it was. To Serve Man. Watch that episode because that's what he's referencing. Thank you so much, Rod Hayes. I kept the time almost tonight. I'm 6 minutes after. Forgive me for that. But thank you so much, Rod. Okay. Thank you, Rod, for coming on. I want you to have a masterful night. Please, please donate to Rod just for me. Show appreciation because he comes on here free of heart, free of soul, and we really appreciate it. So thank you again, Rod. Until next time. And everyone, I'll see you. The Zombies, I'll be with you in a little while. So thank you, Rod, again, for coming on.
I'll see you later.
Okay, bye. Let's see. I was end this really funky. Let's start.
Have you ever wanted to know why so many ancient rituals are steeped in blood and require sacrifice? What hidden forces seem to be manipulating the course of history? Or why certain symbols keep reappearing across all time? Today, I'll attempt to look behind the veil, to reveal an ancient and esoteric narrative that traces the metaphysical and symbolic evolution of ancient deities such as Baal, Saturn, and Moloch, of which have remained with us by way of modern occult systems, secret societies, and conspiracy theories. These entities and archetypes live on not because of their intrinsic nature, but because of humanity's desire to control. To control not only nature, but mass populations. Historical